DeSantis is playing his hand the best that he possibly can. He had a great answer yesterday when he was asked about Stop the Steal at a press conference in the state of Florida. It seems like he's got a pretty good pat answer down for the campaign trail. Here's what he had to say.
You said during an event in Iowa over the weekend that the GOP needs to reject a culture of losing. Do you acknowledge that Trump lost and there wasn't all this fraud that he talks about?
Well, I look at the last however many election cycles. 2018, we lost the House. We lost the Senate. 2020, Biden becomes president. Or no, excuse me, we lost the Senate in 2020. Biden becomes president and has done a huge amount of damage. Very unpopular in 2022. And we were supposed to have this big red wave. And other than like Florida and Iowa, I didn't see a red wave across this country. And so I think the party has developed a culture of losing. I think that there's not accountability. And I think in Florida, we really showed what it takes to not just win big, and then deliver big. And ultimately, when you're doing all this, what results are you producing for people? That's really what matters. You can sit there and talk about cable news, social media, all these other things that people are fixated on. And for me, it's like, okay, what's that true north? You obviously got to win, otherwise you don't get a ticket to the dance. But once you do that, how are you going to be able to actually bring about big change to make people's lives better? Next.
I think it's a great answer, and I do wish we lived in a place where, at least in a primary, where results do matter for people. In a general election, I do think it matters, but whenever it comes to GOP primary, well, current polls, I guess, speak for themselves. Put this up on the screen. Once again, I wish that DeSantis' answer would resonate, and yet Trump is actually up over last month to 55% in the Republican primary. DeSantis at a whopping 17%, roughly around where RFK Jr. is.
Underperforming.
Polls. Actually, underperforming in some polls where RFK Jr. is on the Democratic side. Mike Pence, former vice president, actually polling under where Marianne Williamson is in the Democratic primary. He's at 6%. Nikki Haley's at 4%. Vivek Ramaswamy at 4%, Tim Scott at 2%, Asa Hutchinson at 1%, Larry Elder. I didn't know Larry Elder was in the race. Good for him.
I knew, but
Elder Rising.
I kind of forgot. Yeah.
I have a soft spot for Larry Elder.
Do you? I have no.
Anyway, so what can we say from this?
Well, you know,
Republican voters just love Trump.
I have a little bit of a different take on the DeSantis answer. I thought it was fine for that moment, whatever, when you're not going to face a follow-up and you can just deliver your line and move on. But it does put a little bit of blood in the water because every reporter is going to watch that answer and note that he dodged.
Right.
And now every time he's going to get, because he didn't come down, he didn't say what he thought about 2020. It was a clear dodge. And so if you don't think anytime that a reporter has a chance to try to drill down and ask him and push him and try to get him, that is going to happen time and time again. And so again, it's one thing when you are in that setting and he knows he can just ignore if there's a follow-up and just move on to the next question and just deliver his answer with no pushback, that's one thing. But if he subjects himself to any sort of extended sit-down interview with a real journalist, they're going to push and you're not going to be able to get away with that pat answer. Or if they do end up, if he does end up on a debate stage, which the Republican Party is planning on holding debates. I don't know if Donald Trump is going to participate in them, but those moderators are going to push all those candidates on that as well. So I read it a little bit differently than you did.
Here's the reason why I'm reading it. Politically, that's the best you can do. Because what are you going to do? Most people who are Republicans believe the election was stolen. Right. So you can't say, no, the election was not stolen. So what do? We have a culture of losing. Well, that reads a little bit differently. I don't even disagree with you. Look, empirically, obviously, what does he need to do? Be like, the election wasn't stolen, and I'm a winner. I'm a real winner, unlike you, Trump. Yeah. That's a great answer. But you directionally have to be able to get there. And also, again, in the very unlikely scenario, but still possible scenario where he's able to beat Trump, the best way possible is really what I think he's doing right now. He says we need to reject a culture of losing, and he's doing the Obama strategy. I just read this morning 50 state legislators in New Hampshire came out and endorsed Ron DeSantis. That's huge. And 2 of them actually endorsed Trump only 19 days ago. So not sure what happened with that. He's clearly doing the early state strategy. He can go in, spend time on the ground, roll up and give people permission to vote for him. Iowa, 2 New Hampshire, create a media narrative, and have a fighting chance on Super Tuesday. Do I think it's going to happen? No. I think Trump is going to win New Hampshire. I think New Hampshire loves Trump. They have literally since 2016. Certainly possible, though. Same with Iowa is a little bit more iffy. Super Tuesday, I just really see no chance. But once again, you said yesterday, this might be your only shot.
Yeah.
He's a 44-year-old man. What's the worst case? He loses, and then what? He's a multi-millionaire. He lives in Florida. It's, like, it's not a bad life.
He can go do that lobbyist game we were talking about earlier. He's got lots of connections.
He will be fine for the rest of his life. He's a young man. He has a wife. He's got small kids. Maybe you should shoot your shot. Personally, I would just sail off in the sunset.
I guess on that answer, I agree with you. It's the best you can do.
Yeah.
It's the best you can do. To me, it just underscores that he's in an impossible bind because part of the coalition that he wants to stitch together wants to hear him say it was rigged, it was stolen, Trump won.
Yes.
The other part wants to hear him say this is fake news. Obviously, Joe Biden won. We, have a culture of losing. We need to get behind a winner. And so he's trying to split the difference between those two things and just trying not to say anything. And again, you can get away with it in, one scripted, pat answer. But if you get any pushback or follow-up, it kind of falls apart. So it just, to me, again, it illustrates he's doing perhaps the best he can given the landscape within the Republican primary. It is an impossible situation, an impossible needle to try to thread, I think.
That's why I don't think it will work out.
Yeah,
so I'm just saying,
right. So we're in agreement there.
You play the best hand that you can. Sometimes it's not always the best hand.
Yeah, and then you hope fate is gonna hand you something you can work with.
Yeah.
And you never know.
Yeah. History always rolls its dice.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now. And Saagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah. We rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us. And if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.